SEO this week. Hello, everyone. My name is Clint Butler from Digitaleer, and this is our weekly marketing news roll up. Some of the best articles that we could find on the internet from last week, talking about SEO marketing, social media marketing, and more. So, with episode number 28, we actually have a light week as compared to normal. Only 5 articles. Only because a lot of the articles that we found last week were just kind of rewrites of same old topics that we've heard over and over again. So to save you some time and energy, you can move on to bigger and better things. We picked the 5 best from last week that gave some new information, or if anything, presented information in a much better way than what we found before. So without further ado, let's get started. The first website we're at is Practical E-commerce, and the title is Google Analytics and How to Track Marketing Campaigns. Specifically with this post, they're looking at using UTM tags, UTM parameters is what they're called, in order to mark up your URLs that you're saving or sharing in other places in order to determine how much the traffic is actually paying off for you. The examples here that they use are paid content and social media, but you can use these pretty much anywhere. So let's say you have you're doing some guest posting and you want to see if which one of the 10 sites that you're guest posting on is actually providing you the most traffic. You create a UTM parametered marked up URL for them and then put that in your guest post versus your just plain old normal URL. And that'll show you the exact amount of traffic that came from that URL. It's really cool. They're easy features. This thing can get, a little bit complicated, but really, and there's only 5. There's only 5 elements to it. It's the medium, the source, the campaign. You can put the ad content if you want to, and the term. Typically, we just use the medium, source, and the campaign. So, for example, a medium could be like a video or whatever. A source is Facebook, and then the campaign is like for the post. Like every time we publish SEO this week, for example, our software creates a UTM code, and it lets us know when people are coming from Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, etc., and we can track that out and find out where our time is best served on social media sites. You can really do a lot. It's up to your imagination and how far you want to take these things. So it's a really good tool to use. I suggest you, if anything, if you're building a bunch of links out there and you have, you're not doing it solely for the purposes of link building and you want to find out if this campaign or that campaign is working for you, throw in some UTM codes and you'll know right away. It's pretty cool. Next, we're going to the KISS Metrics blog. It's a blog about analytics, marketing, and testing. And the topic is poor site-wide conversion rates. But more so, we want to focus on page-specific conversions and if a page is working for you or it's not. And when I say a page, let's say you're an e-com store and you have one product or a page about one product and then you have a similar product. Or let's say you have 10 products and you put 10 different versions of your sales page on there to see, and then you can check using your Google Analytics to see which one of those pages actually met your goals and converted for you better. Then you can take that and break that down to 5, find out which one is better, break it down to 2, find out which one is better, and then implement that winner across the site-wide layout of your entire platform. That's how sites like Amazon is a really famous example. Amazon tests everything. Google tests a lot, but Amazon tests more specifically for click-through rates and sales and conversions. So, like, i.e., the color of the buttons are not on a whim. It's not for branding. They tested those, and those buttons, that particular color works the best on their site. So, you can do that as well. You don't have to be the scale of Amazon. If you have 10 products or 10 versions of a product, then create 10 versions of a sales page and work your way down using Google Analytics and the goals in order to find your best thing. and that applies to everything. If your conversion is an email, or your conversion is a download, etc., then you can do the same thing, creating different versions, and use the goals and use your analytics to make the best pages possible, to minimize your work and have a long standing converting page. And then let's say you don't have any pages, or you have some pages that just aren't doing anything for you. You can just decide keep them, optimize them, or get rid of them. And so it's a good tool to use and have in the tool bag, just to know how to knock out. Now we go back to practical e-commerce, and this is 4 types of keyword intent that impact search marketing. Now this is one of those articles that by no means is this like some revolutionary topic. People have been talking about the keyword intent and these 4 classifications for quite some time. However, I think it's always good to be reminded of them because keyword research is so important. It drives every aspect of your marketing. Whether you're doing SEO, pay-per-click, or you're on Facebook using those kind of ads, you need to know keywords and you need to know intent in order to target the right customer at the right time with the right products. And that is where this goes into. The first 3, well, actually the first 2, I don't do a lot of targeting with, like navigational intent. That's really your branding. We do that with all of our customers. It's the first thing we go. We don't even mess around with the converting keywords until we know that the branding is right. Because once branding is recognized by Google, then everything is a lot easier. And then the next is informational. This is your content marketing people. You know, recipes, how-to articles, how-to videos, etc. That's where that informational stuff comes in. A majority of your website traffic is going to come from information. People have no reason or want to buy something, or maybe they're buying and their buying decision is so far out right now, but they're just doing the research. You're looking up a brand new car. You're looking up how to import a car from Canada. You want to know how to do your own plumbing, or you want to know how to make a great ham for Thanksgiving. Those are all informational things, and that's where really the vast majority of your traffic is coming from. You can get tons and tons of informational traffic and not make one sale. So just be aware of that. Investigational is more along the lines of review posts, where they fall in they possibly could be buyers, but maybe they're just looking for something, or they want to compare and contrast 2 different digital cameras, for example, or compare and contrast 2 different companies, or 2 different microphones, for example. Like I'm getting a new microphone for us. We have the Blue Nessie. We like the Nessie. The hardware is kind of cracked out on us though, and it's 2 years old, so we're going to go ahead and get the Yeti, which is essentially an upgrade. But we researched that out. Do we want the Pro Yeti or the regular Yeti? Or do we not want a Yeti at all and we want to get a Heil? It all depends on your, what's your investigational intent. I like to call these the keywords where I'm ready to buy. I just want to make sure that I'm buying the right thing. And then finally is the transactional, where to buy, the best shoes, the best pair of Nikes. Where can I buy running shoes? Where, how do I, or the Sony DSLR Alpha 700 camera, or discounts, and those type of words or additions. Buy, coupon, discount, and shipping are some that are added here. I have an entire list of them, but these are all your transactional. This is what the searcher is telling you by using these words is, I am ready to buy. I've done my research and I got my credit card on my desk and I'm ready to buy this thing. So, like I said, this is a great post to read. You should check it out. And if anything, always be aware of the 4 types of searches. And just know, information gets you traffic, transactional, and investigational get you money. HubSpot is the next site, and it's called What is the Bounce Rate and How Can I Fix Mine? I actually like this post because I like talking about bounce rates, and only because they do a lot of it's involved in your on-page optimization. And I am of the school where if your on-page optimization is right, your off-page doesn't have to take all that much. So we focus really heavily on on-page optimization. For a client site, and it may take us 2 or 3 months to get the on-page optimization right because we want it to be perfect, and we use data to determine what changes we need to make, etc. But one of those data points is the bounce rate. Here is a caveat. Google Analytics is free, and it does not, I repeat, does not measure your bounce rate properly. So let's say you have a 10,000 word article. The article is meeting the searcher's intent. It solves the problem for them, and they're done with it. But in Google Analytics, they'll read that your visitor went to that article and then left. And it will register you as a bounce. And your article will have a high bounce rate. And it's just a flaw in the Google Analytics system, in my opinion, a flaw that can be easily adjusted or fixed by using Google Tag Manager and firing an event, or using a custom script. There's plenty of examples on the internet. You can find them. Script to adjust bounce rate. And basically all it's doing is firing off an event at a certain period of time saying that the visitor is still there. You can do that, or you can add a Google Tag Manager and use an event when they're scrolling your page, and that'll help reduce your bounce rate too. The bounce rate is really a metric. It's just telling you that they're engaged in your content, in your site, and that they're doing something. Like again, a long article may be the scroll or the time on site to indicate that they're reading, and that'll help you with your bounce rates. Versus a funnel where your bounce rates, you want them to be low because that means that they're going from one page to the next through your funnel. And finally, we close out with Google continues to crack down on fake map listings. Now, there were a couple of well, let's just say there's more than a few people who are creating fake listings with the intent or criminal intent to defraud people. And then there are people who are creating fake listings to rub the proverbial noses of Google into some flaws in their system in order to prove a point and make names for themselves and ride their white horses. And then finally there's people who have to create these fake location listings in order to compete in a very competitive market space. I am in the lines that if you don't have a physical location, then you should be using a service area business. Particularly if you like us, we work out of a home office. We will see people here, but in general, you just don't want you coming here. But that being said, we use our office or our home office as our business location. Whereas a locksmith, for example, he's got a franchise. His franchise consists of a truck with all the tools that he needs in order to practice his trade, and he's running a business, a service area business out of his home. Now, if you notice, service area businesses don't show up in the local 3-pack under the organic search terms, only physical based locations. In order to see those service area businesses, for the most part, depending on the competition, you actually have to go to Google Maps, and a lot of people don't do that, i.e. users don't do that for the most part, or they start their search off in Maps. It depends on the savviness of the user and what they're looking for. This hurts, in my opinion, this hurts local businesses, and it creates a position where they have to get virtual offices, use UPS phone books, use the post office addresses in order to create a quote-unquote physical location so that they can fairly compete under Google's rules. Here's where the white knights come in. They look at these listings and they just label everyone, oh, you're defrauding people. You're a service area business, but you can't compete because Google won't show you. We don't care. You're defrauding people, and they'll report your map listing, or you're a bad person. Or they post articles like this where anyone who is using those type of virtual addresses, they got to be fraudsters and tricksters and evil bad people. And frankly, I think that's completely irresponsible of authors like this or sites that post this kind of stuff to not have the proper context and the reasons why fake listings exist. Google has clearly shown in local listings that major directories like Yelp, HubSpot, Thumbtack, etc. are their preference. They don't care about small businesses as far as I can see. In those search terms, they don't want to end your search. They want to send you to publishers that are using their advertising methods to increasingly monetize their sites more and more, i.e. Google AdWords placements. So they use these thumbtacks in which Google is clearly invested in, like financially has an investment in Thumbtack, Home Advisor and the like, and they show those on top of real small businesses. So what do small businesses have left? Google Maps. And in order to leverage those in the 3-pack where all the traffic is, they have to have a physical location. So Google has created this problem of their own, and then there's other people that are irresponsibly running around telling if you don't have a physical location, then clearly your business is a fraud or more. And I say that because when you read these articles, in particular this article, there is no distinction made. So if they don't make a distinction between service area businesses who are trying to compete in an ever increasingly competitive marketplace, then why should I make a distinction? And what they're saying is that if you don't have a physical location, you're not a real business, so you shouldn't be in maps. Irresponsible, poor marketing from this author and from the Search Engine Journal for publishing what I consider is complete crap. So that is my opinion. And I'd like to hear what you have to say, because that is the last article for SEO this week. Told you it was light, it was short. Leave your opinions in the comments. I would like to hear your thoughts on what you think is a legitimate and illegitimate use for creating an address using a virtual box, or creating or a street address of a PO box, or using a UPS store, for example, as the front of your business because you have to, versus being able to compete openly in an open and free market within the scope of what Google is providing us as a platform. So my name is Clint Butler, and thank you again for listening to Digitaleer, episode number 28. As always, if you have a site you'd like us to add into the mix, please don't hesitate to come and let me know. You can go to the SEO This Week tab on Digitaleer.com. That's Digitaleer.com, and click on the SEO This Week tab and submit your sites for review. Thank you very much, and have a good week.